Holy smokes, we're going to have to talk about this Bitcoin action because the entire market is on fire. What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today, we have got to talk about this crypto market, which is on fire and imploding after all of this nonsense that has gone down with the collapse of FTX exchange. Holy smokes, I can't even believe what I'm looking at right now with this chart. I'll just pop the chart up real quick, and the current price as I'm shooting this video is below $16,000. This is absolutely mind-boggling, shocking. I can't even believe my eyes. I had just shot a 20-minute video, and unfortunately, my microphone was not on. So it was just for review. I had a practice session. Now I know exactly what I want to talk about. And it's centered around all of the predictions and the prognosticating that has gone on the YouTubes over the past several months, where people claim that Bitcoin can't ever go below 19,000. Now, I'm not going to troll everyone. I'm not going to troll all the other big mouths on YouTube today, but we're just going to talk about a few things and why people need to be careful and open their minds up to the fact that we don't know what could happen in these markets. We don't know what events could cause everything to come crashing down. We're going to discuss those things while we're looking at this price sailing down. I've got my coffee ready. It's going to take coffee to get through this. So apparently with the entire fiasco being kicked off by Scam Bankman Fraud. It's funny that his middle name is Bankman and that he's a fraud, just like the banksters. It's interesting. So Sam Bankman Fraud, we found out why the FTX exchange was a big fat scam and that there was a big fat web of lies around how it got so big so fast. So Sam Bankman-Fraud, whatever it is, now I can't even say his real name, got his start by doing Bitcoin arbitrage transactions. And that's where you buy super tiny amounts. When you have a super tiny difference between exchange A and exchange B, and you do arbitrage transactions where you're skimming off of that difference between two exchanges and using software and bots and whatever and large amounts of investment capital, he was able to make billions of dollars. So then he created the FTX exchange. And here's how everything went wrong from what I understand. He created the FTT token out of thin air. Okay. And, much in the same way that the United States Treasury creates the US dollar out of thin air and just prints it by the trillions, he did the same thing and then was able to maneuver himself to a point that there was a perceived value of the FTT token. So once there was a perceived value, and after the initial coin offering and all of that, a large chunk of those FTT tokens went to subsidiary Alameda Research. And then it was called an asset. And so I remember hearing in some of the videos where Sam Bankman Fraud was talking, where he said that, I can't remember exactly how he said it, but instead of just parking assets and not using them, that the smart thing to do is to employ creative use of the assets by alternative means in order to be more of service and create more wealth. Well, the interpretation of that was create a fake token like the US government, make it artificially valuable, call that an asset, and then turn around and get massive DeFi loans using this FTT token that he printed out of thin air as collateral. So you raise up the perceived value. And let's say by the time FTT gets to say $20, and let's say if there's 1 million tokens, then you've got $20 billion of total. But that's not real, because that means that you would have to sell it all. Now, if you try to sell it all, the price starts to sail down. It will plummet. So it's only a perceived value. Just because the price is at $20 and your market cap is 20 billion, that doesn't mean that it's liquid. You would only be able to get a fraction of that out. And so then he went and used that $20 billion to leverage himself into DeFi loans, getting large amounts of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and whatever else. Well, when you set out to make your fortune based on something that is similar to a Ponzi scheme or just straight out fraud, well, the Grim Reaper's going to come get you before it's all said and done. And so he got caught in a liquidity crisis. And it's interesting how it all got sparked off with him going back and forth with CZ, the CEO of Binance. And then all of a sudden he was exposed. Everyone had their eyes open to the books. I can't remember if it was Cointelegraph or Coindesk that posted the article that exposed the books, the balance sheet of FTX and Alameda. And people found out how he came about all of this wealth and that it was backed by these DeFi loans. And so it looked like he was worth however many billions of dollars, maybe 20 some odd $billion, when in all actuality, about 80% of that was artificial because it was based on massive amounts of debt. And when the collateral can't be liquidated, if the price of the collateral goes down, then you got yourself a problem. And that's what kicked this off after his exposure when people started selling like crazy. Now, the reason why I bring this up is this. I've been holding back and not speaking my mind for several months, but I'm going to speak my mind now. Because now we see here with this chart, looking at this chart, this is insane. I mean, the price is at 15,714, okay? And we have absolutely destroyed the black dotted line of death. Whew, it just scares me to say that. Wow. Okay, so not only have we just destroyed it, we took a deep dive. It's like sending a missile straight down through the ground and just exploding and making a humongous crater in the earth. All right? I mean, we've already been through the red dashed line. But after violating the red dashed line, I wanted to tell everyone that the red dashed line was a very important line because it opened up the possibilities of a big capitulation that would go down farther beneath this so-called bottom point that all of the big mouths on YouTube claimed that Bitcoin would never go below. So now I'm going to start speaking my mind and telling everyone that even though you think that it could never go below a certain price, you better open your mind to all possibilities. Where I was not trying to come out and say that I knew for sure that this capitulation like this would happen, but that I was rather open to the idea of scenario A, where Bitcoin would rocket ship up and never go down below 19. I wouldn't be surprised. And scenario B, where we violate the black dotted line of death because we had already violated the red dash line, and that we could possibly go down to 10, 12K. All right, now that we have broken 16,000 and are sitting at 15,743 and change, are you now open to the possibilities of 10 to 12K as opposed to before? If you never thought that we could go down to 10K, have you at least considered the possibility now that we have gone down this far? Even if it's just a 10% chance, a 90% chance that we bounce up from here, are you open to that idea? I'm guessing that you're going to say yes. Now, one of the most confident people, overconfident people, in discussing the Bitcoin floor price is Steve of Crypto Crew University. Now, I like Steve. I love his videos. I hit the like button on them all the time. I don't miss any of his videos. I think he does a great job and he's a great person. Now, I know that he's been very overconfident about, say, the 18, 19K being the bottom. And as he states, when you have the death cross on that 1 day or 1 month chart, 1 week chart, whatever it is, you can watch his videos and see it, that you enter the golden zone and Bitcoin has never gone below that point after you have the death cross. And as he states it, the facts are in the charts. The facts are in the charts. The facts are in the charts. And in all of Bitcoin's history, we have never gone below the golden zone after a death cross. Well, let me open your eyes to something and tell you why I had disagreed with him and why I was still open to the possibility that these golden zones that he points out in his videos, that you can't bet the house on that. Here's why. Right now, we are in the midst of a housing crisis, a market crash, all right? This only happens once every 13 years. So does a stock market crash. You remember back in 2008 when we had the implosion of the banking system, when the mortgage crisis hit, and when the stock market took a dive? Yeah, you remember that. Well, guess what? This happens every 13 years. But here's where I think Steve went wrong, where he didn't consider the fact that Bitcoin has not been through a full cycle of the world economy. It's only existed for 12 years. And so when we say the facts are in the charts, it might be within the extent of a 13-year cycle, but that's not considering that at the end of that 13-year cycle that we might violate every bottom that had previously been indicated by those golden zones. So my takeaway from this ugly chart is that we don't have enough price history to know all of the ins and outs of the price action with Bitcoin. We don't know what can happen until we see more than 13 years to know if there is a super cycle where we stay within that climbing channel, the plan B channel, and now we've fallen completely out of that. There's no more plan B channel. All the golden zones have been destroyed with this right here. But once you get beyond that 13-year period, now we can see what is possible on the super cycle. And hopefully that's something that we can all learn. And I promise you, I'm going to be more vocal about my opinion when I see everyone polarized in one belief of a probability. I'm going to let you know when I think that people are foolishly thinking that we're secure in a certain level of Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency market. When the fact is, we're skating on thin ice, very thin ice. If the FTX fiasco could crash the entire market, what would happen if the Tether FUD got out of control? It could be worse than this. We've already seen the Luna fiasco, and now the FTX deal situation takes the cake and blew that out of the water. It's tanking the entire market. So now I'm open to the fact that the news can wreck the charts. Most people say, show me the chart and I'll show you the news. And they think that it's all about the technical analysis and that the TA reigns. I am not of that belief. I have an alternative viewpoint. I think that 70 to 80% of the time, the technical analysis in the chart rules the future action of Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. What I mean by that is most of the time we can depend on what the chart is telling us, but a black swan can come in and the news can make the chart, just like what we see happening right now. Because, okay, this was pretty much being told in the chart. It is not like the black swan event that happened during the COVID thing. When that happened, it went against the grain of what the chart was telling us and came out of nowhere. So I think that it is wise to understand that news can wreck the chart, that a black swan event can come in, and when everything is looking bullish, it could flip the chart on its ear. And it's best to take that point of view, to know that it's not 100% in the charts, even though, like I said, the chart was telling me this. I mean, for days, I'm thinking this ain't going to work out too good. And I was wondering, how in the world is Bitcoin going to hold the golden zone that Steve's talking about when this chart clearly is telling me that we got a dump that is about to happen? But at any rate, this just is a good lesson learned. And more people need to learn that lesson. And it's not all bleak. This is not the end. This is a buying opportunity. Bitcoin's not going anywhere. It's not going away. The crypto market is not going away. The future of Bitcoin is still very strong. The future of cryptocurrency is still very strong. Look at the competition. Fiat currencies that have no value, okay? They're going to make it. Everything is going to make it. But we have to be careful along the way, and we have to expect that events like this can and will happen. So I'd love it if you would tell a friend or two about my channel. I don't get a lot of views on my Bitcoin videos. And I want more people to discuss this with me. And when you pass the word, don't tell them that I'm a prognosticator, that I predict the action with Bitcoin. Tell them that I'm the guy that just likes to call the action, like John Madden calling the action when he was on television calling the NFL football games. I'm like John Madden. John Madden didn't know what the end score would be of the game, but he was calling the action as he saw it. Well, that's me. All right. And I want to be the light shining in the forest, helping us to at least know where the next steps can be as we make our way through this cryptocurrency jungle. So with that, I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And I appreciate you all being here. Let's chop it up in the comments and let me know what you think is going to happen. And if your mind has been opened by this ugly chart on whether or not 10K is possible. That's about all I've got for now. Stay tuned. I got plenty much more coming your way. This is Carlton, and I am out. Whoops. And I am out.